Welcome to the best damn power rankings on the internet. It's Mitch with the most accurate, electrifying, and honest NFL power rankings on YouTube. This is the video where I rank every NFL team from the worst, number 32, to the best, number 1. This is the time of year where we're separating the pretenders from the contenders. So if you're ready for the best power rankings that you'll see all day, all night, and anywhere on YouTube, then you know what to do. Gronk, spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel for weekly NFL power rankings every single Tuesday. Let's get to it. Let's kick it off by starting at number 32. At number 32, the Las Vegas Raiders. Might be one of the worst teams I've ever seen. They have had not one, but 2 games where you check the box score and you ask yourself, how is that even possible? Last week against the Eagles, and then that Chiefs game, both of the Super Bowl teams from last year who have been struggling this season, the Las Vegas Raiders made look like all-timers. Pure and utter domination in a way that you should never see at the NFL level. Switching Geno Smith and Kenny Pickett, it didn't do a damn thing. And if I'm the Raiders, I'm completely scrapping whatever the project or the plan was with Pete Carroll. Because he's clearly lost all of his marbles. Every single last one. This entire staff should be gone. And this is one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen in pass protection. Their run blocking isn't much better, but they give up, 4 sacks a game? Like, it's incredible. Other than Brock Bowers and Max Crosby, who honestly, I'd probably trade Max Crosby. And if I were Max Crosby, I would be praying, please, someone save me. But Max Crosby is so loyal and maybe a little dumb. He should get out of there if he knows what's good for him. And the funniest thing about the Raiders is they're campaigning. I saw earlier today. Campaigning for Devin White to be a comeback player of the year. The funny thing about that is, yeah, he has a lot of tackles, but not in a good way. It's not because he's good. This is the fundamental reasoning behind the Raiders. They can't even evaluate properly. They've got players from 2020 that were good then that aren't good now. They're playing 2017 football. They're way behind. And they have next to no talent. Can you name an above average player on defense outside of Max Crosby? Maybe Jeremy Chin has played pretty well this year. Like, please, Raiders fans, help me out. Offensively, other than Brock Bowers, Even Ashton Genty has been massively disappointing. This is a horrific team in so many ways. Like, it is insane. At number 31, it is incredible that the Tennessee Titans are no longer a bottom 2 team in the NFL, but this is where we are. In week 16 of 2025, the New York Jets are still absolutely, positively, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, absolute ass. Who is Brady Cook? How is this jabroni starting on a Sunday? The Jets' best playmaker right now was literally the Colts' 4th best receiver. That's how bad the Jets are. I hope Breece Hall leaves. Without Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, the defense made Trevor Lawrence look like Peyton Manning. Aaron Glenn fires his buddy and his defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, and he replaces him with his wide receiver coach. Aaron Glenn, call the damn plays, you idiot! What are we doing? You jabroni! This is why I get on here and I call you a jabroni. Aaron Glenn, remind me, why were you hired again? Why? Because from my understanding, although I never understood it because I said from the very jump, and all of you guys know it at home, Aaron Glenn was never going to be good. He was never good. He was never going to be good. And I'm glad because the Jets are in my division. So, congratulations. Little golf clap for you. But why were you hired, sir? It was because you were the defensive play caller of the Lions, no? Am I missing something? So, when Liam Cohen gets hired and Ben Johnson gets hired, they call plays for the offense and they improve. But when Aaron Glenn, a defensive coach, gets hired, he doesn't. And instead, he gives it to Steve Wilks, a man that I single-handedly blame for losing Kyle Shanahan a Super Bowl. Steve Wilks lost the 2023 49ers a Super Bowl ring. That is the jabroni that you hired, and I am not shocked whatsoever that he was fired. Not one iota. I could have seen that coming. I wish there were odds before the season on Steve Wilks getting his candy ass fired. Because I would have bet it. Because he sucks. I don't care who the quarterback is for the Jets. Unless you get prime Joe Namath with the fur jacket to get into a time machine, get the flux capacitor started, get the DeLorean full speed ahead. I don't see how this team does anything under Aaron Glenn. Number 30. Oh boy. The Cleveland Browns. By the way, I see you at home right now. I see you. You're looking right at me. I see you. Don't. I know you haven't Gronk spiked the like button yet, jabroni. Get your phone. Don't be lazy. Get your phone. Unlock it. See the thumbs up button? Push it. It's not that hard. It's free. Get off your ass. Number 30. The Shador Sexuals. The Cleveland Browns. Now, according to the Shador Sexuals, he might get all the ladies. But one thing he doesn't do is win football games. And one thing he does do is throw a lot of interceptions. So, Shador Sanders is currently on pace to be literally the worst quarterback we have ever seen in our lives, statistically. And yet, none of his fans want to talk about that. Actually, we've seen reports that the Browns might let him be the starter next year. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a good idea, personally. What does he do that allows him to be the starter of this team next year? One, he is one of the worst press conference quarterbacks I've ever heard. He is arrogant, and he has no right to be. He sucks. He doesn't do anything well on the field. Not one thing. He's below average in every single quarterback trait imaginable. So just because Mel Kiper or Skip Bayless or Dion Primetime himself convinced you that he should have been first overall and a first-round pick, I advise you to tune into the Browns because he is absolute shit. Garbage. He is not a starting quarterback, and I wouldn't personally want him on my team because you've got all these weirdos that probably don't even have their face in their profile pictures talking about Shador Sanders like they're gargling genitals every week, bro. I am done with this team. The only reason I will talk about Cleveland any longer and their pussy coach and their terrible offense is because of Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is one sack away from history. Go get it, sir. At number 29, the Tennessee Titans. Wow. The Tennessee Titans are not 32. They're not 31. No. They're not even 30. The Tennessee Titans are 29. A team that has a resume that includes beating the Cardinals, which gets less and less impressive by the week, through the Cardinals literally throwing the game and giving them 2 touchdowns. And then their other win was against Shador. That is the team that I have at number 29 on the list. They've ran the ball well the last 2 weeks. Tony Pollard is balling. They still don't have an O-line. I'm questioning Cam Ward. Their receivers aren't any good. They have Mike McCoy in the year 2025 as their NFL head coach. And they have the worst secondary I have ever seen. They made Brock Purdy look like 1989 Joe Montana. They made Ricky Pearsall look like Jerry Rice. I have the Titans at 29. At number 28, the New York Giants, with quite frankly, the most overrated rookie quarterback since Shador Sanders. Jackson Dart, for some reason, has Giants fans dreaming of Super Bowls. just because he's white with curly hair and he wears an icy silver chain. Bro is not good. Is he bad? No. I'm not going that far. But he's not as good as Giants fans think. I honestly think he's one concussion away from being an absolute brainless human. He better watch himself. He gets hurt in every game. Like every game. Jameis Winston had to play again. And I just don't know how it's actually humanly possible for the Giants to have the worst run defense I've ever seen in my life. Like, how? I don't know how the Giants are going to keep anyone on their staff. Their management, I think the owner should fire himself. Like, I don't even know. The Giants, it's embarrassing. You are the New York Football Giants. You have been the worst team in football for 10 years. The Giants. Are you kidding? That's embarrassing, man. New York, man. And they believe in Jackson's Star Wars dart, bro. Number 27. The Arizona Cardinals. They wanted to blame Kyler Murray for all their failures. And where did that get them? It certainly got them a top 5 pick, because Jacoby Brissett is putting up garbage yards, garbage touchdowns, and garbage stats. The king of the garbage, the Arizona Cardinals. But they can't even compete in a game. So yeah, blame Kyler Murray all you want, but entire roster, team, coaching staff is a bunch of jabronis. The Cardinals are injured, beat up, and just absolutely useless. They stink. The only guy I respect on this team is Trey McBride. It's the only guy, the only individual that I respect. Pew pew. At number 26, the New Orleans Shucks. The Saints win again. Another upset in the NFC South. And I'm still not sure they're very good. I don't know how they beat the Panthers last week, considering all the Panthers had to do was kick a damn field goal. Instead, they decided to go for it and let Tyler Shuck drive down the field and beat their ass. That's the Carolina Panthers for you. You can never expect them to seal the deal when they need to. But the Saints are actually a respectable bad team. They don't have a lot of talent. Offensive line, running back, wide receiver, defensively, but they stop the run. They have a quarterback that can throw, make plays, move the ball in 2-minute situations. He can run as well. Tyler Shuck is their guy. There's absolutely no reason that anyone should be mock drafting the Saints at quarterback right now. He's their guy. He might be the second oldest quarterback behind Phillip Rivers in the league, but he's their guy. Jermari, you got one. Congratulations, sir. Now, that doesn't mean you're good. You got a lot of work to do, sir. I actually think low-key Brandon Staley deserves some love. I know that's crazy. That's ludicrous. You can't say that. But Brandon Staley's been pretty good for the Saints. I don't know. And Chase Young has been pretty good for the Saints. I don't know. Couple names that you can never say in a positive light, but they've been pretty good. Just going to throw it out there. Saints are at number 26. Main thing is they got their guy. Tyler Shuck. Number 25, the Commies, the Washington Commanders, are at number 25. Marcus Mariota upset the Giants on one of the strangest, oddest, weirdest lines of the season. Why were the Commanders underdogs against the Giants? That made no sense. Marcus Mariota, finally the starter after they benched Jaden Daniels, as they should have a long time ago. The Commanders have like one of the most useless defenses I've ever seen in my life. They're old, they're slow, they can't do anything right. They're a retirement home. I kind of like the coaching staff. I do like aspects of the offense, but they're going to have to like completely scrap the entire vision of this defense and completely rebuild the entire defense. And I think they're going to be a team that people are buying entering next year, and I don't see it. I think they need a couple off seasons for this thing to work. And they need Jaden Daniels to stay healthy, man. If he's ever going to be their guy for the future. It might be RG3 2.0. Number 24, the Atlanta Falcons. Kirko Chains snatched Baker Mayfield's chain and probably his commercial on Thursday night. Kyle Pitts looked like what we thought Kyle Pitts was going to become. What in the blue was that? 3 touchdowns by Kyle Pitts out of nowhere. Bijan is sensational, but the Falcons, of course they win that game, because why not? Now, I will say if any team's going to win useless games that don't matter, it should be the Falcons, because they handed the Rams a win with their first-round damn draft pick. Because they had to draft the same position twice in the same fucking round. Raheem Morris is an absolute jackass. I can't stand him. I can't stand his stupid face. Get out of the camera, bro. Why are you gloating about winning in Thursday night when you're eliminated from the playoffs, you absolute jabroni? I can't stand you. The only reason you won is because you played Todd frickin' Bowles. More on him in a second. The Falcons are an absolute train wreck. I don't know if there is a franchise. I heard they might bring back this jabroni. They might have Raheem Morris run it back. Are you kidding me, Wave God? Wave God, wake up! Claire, wake up! You've got to send a letter to this franchise, to Arthur Blank. Because he's blanked right now, man. You got to get out there. You got to protest. How can you allow this jabroni to be strolling up and down your sidelines and putting his fat mug in your camera, bro? You're going nowhere with this guy. The Falcons are in the worst spot of any team in the league. They don't even have a first-round pick, and Michael Penix might not never walk again. Number 23, the Miami Dolphins. Oh, boy. Miami Dolphins. I hate you again. I liked you for a week or two. And then what do? You have me believing. You have me wearing a Dan Marino jersey on my Monday night stream. I never wear a jersey on my streams. I have you. I bet on you. I trust you, Tua. I don't know why, but I did. Mike McDaniel, how much coke did you snort? Why did Zach Wilson not play on Monday night? You saw Tua. He didn't warm up until the 4th fucking quarter. And by that time, you weren't even caring about hurry up. Darren Waller forgot there was a game until the 4th quarter. I feel bad for the Dolphins defense. They were trying their ass off. The possession in the first half the first 3 quarters Felt like it was like 40 minutes to 5, bro. What in the hell? Miami, they get a little cold and they just completely unravel. They're a different team. It's like insane. I've never seen anything like it, bro. I've truly never seen anything like it. They made the Steelers look like the '08 Steelers. I got this guy Jim in my chat acting like he's got the greatest team since the '07 Pats, bro. The Miami Dolphins, they're not going to look that bad for the rest of the year or maybe against the Patriots when they play in the cold, but that's embarrassing, man. That was one of the most unwatchable games I have seen all year. That was embarrassing. And NFL, why in the do you have the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers on primetime television? What in the fuck are you doing? Like, honestly, what are we doing? At number 22, the Kansas City Chiefs. No Patrick Mahomes, which means I probably should have moved them up in the power rankings, but instead I moved them down because the Chiefs have nothing, and I mean nothing, to play for. They might as well lose out. And the Chiefs, Andy Reid, they're not dumb. They're not dumb. They may still have that pride, but they're not idiotic. They may lose on purpose. I wouldn't put it past those cheaters. I wouldn't whatsoever, those sandbaggers. But thank the heavens, the Chiefs dynasty is finally dead. And Ultra's probably still going to pick them to win the Super Bowl. I have them at number 22. At number 21, the Indianapolis Colts. I will give you this, party. Your boy Phillip Rivers, he did a pretty good job on Sunday for what was expected from him. 44-year-old grandpa with 15 kids stepped up in the pocket and threw a couple darts and mostly just threw the ball sideways. But hey, he did good enough. He looked like Peyton Manning in 2015, calling those audibles. Maybe the Colts are still alive. We'll find out on Monday night. But what we do know is they're very talented. I mean, I think it showcases how good they are when you can go to Seattle with a 44-year-old grandpa on short notice, and you can block the run game. You can still move the ball enough. You can play physical defense. You can step up in other areas. Your coaching is still really, really strong. Like, I think it shows the strength of the overall team for them to go against a top 5, top 10 Seahawks team on the road and still play very, very competitive down at the end where they could have won the game. They took a game-winning lead inside 1 minute. So we'll see what they do against the 49ers on Monday, but I'm looking forward to Phillip Rivers. At number 20, the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, I think he might be depressed. Like, I'm actually not kidding. I am 100% serious. I think Joe Burrow is depressed. I'm not kidding. I know my face looks like I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I am 100% serious. Joe Burrow looks like he is wanting to retire. Like, he looks like he's in Andrew Luck mode. Sorry, party. I didn't mean to say that too loud. But Joe Burrow, I hope he snaps out of it. I hope he figures it out. I hope that he has more fun moving forward. I mean, the Bengals are officially done. I think Joe Burrow played the worst game I've ever seen him play last Sunday. He was atrocious. He was unplayable. He was atrocious. Joe Flacco should have played. Like, it was really bad. Really, really, really bad. And their defense still isn't very good. But yet, they only allowed 17 points to Lamar, because one of them was a pick six. It was 24-0. I didn't expect them to get shut out. That being said, if Burrow plays and actually tries for the rest of the year, I think they're still a competitive team that can give anyone a game. but I don't necessarily expect them to win many. But I have them at number 20. I mean, there's not a lot to say with the Bengals. I just hope that Joe Burrow snaps out of it. I hope that he has fun again, and I hope he stays healthy. And I hope that the Bengals can maybe have a semblance of a defense next year for them to be a respectable team. At number 19, the Dallas Cowboys. I have to admit, I fell for it. I fell for the oldest trick in the book. Jerry got me. He got me. You beat the Eagles. You beat the Chiefs. I'm all in. And then you lose to the Lions and the frickin' 9 J.J. McCarthy Vikings to eliminate your candy asses from the playoffs? That ripped my heart out, man. I think when I was watching that Vikings game with my dad, who you guys know is a Cowboys fan, he must have said 20 times, I can't watch this anymore. I can't watch this. I can't do it. I can't watch it. He went to the bathroom not once but twice in the second half. I knew that he didn't have to go twice, bro. He was hiding. He couldn't believe his eyes. The Dallas defense is literally the most disgraceful unit in the NFL, single-handedly ruining Dallas's hopes. I thought they turned the corner. I was wrong. I apologize for ever having hope in this team. And you guys say Mitch never admits his mistakes. Mitch is wrong. Whatever, bro. Number 18. The Vikings. We know the Vikings have talent. We know that they're well coached. We know they have a strong defense. That showed up on Sunday. But they needed a quarterback to make some throws. And J.J. McCarthy the last couple of weeks has made some damn good ones. And I think he's shown enough to be given the job next year and be given a little bit of leeway and to be given another full offseason at 22 years old, to be given an opportunity. And I'm looking forward to it. I thought JJ showed enough. He has some fire. He has some spunk. He has a little vigor. You like to see it popping through his veins. Justin Jefferson, still, I can't really find him other than dropping passes in the back of the end zone. The defense is really good, though. I like watching the defense. The defense is really good. I just think they're pretty mid. They're pretty mid, but their defense keeps them in it. Their defense can go up against good offenses and slow them down in key situations. And if JJ makes some throws, they're dangerous down the stretch to upset a couple teams that have playoff aspirations. So I have them at number 18. It looks like they're on the incline. At number 17, Carolina. What do I even say about this team that hasn't been said? The Carolina Panthers. All they had to do was beat the Saints, and then they would just simply have to beat Todd Bowles one time. And what do you do, Bryce Young? What do you do, Panthers? But you lose to the Saints. Not once, but twice. There are no words to describe the Carolina Panthers. Let's be honest. I don't think Bryce Young is a franchise quarterback. I'm not saying he's terrible, but he's not it. He's not it. I'm sorry. Panthers fans, you can keep pounding away in my comment section. You're not going to change my mind. The defense is mediocre. If they can't run the ball, they can't win. It's that simple. They are mid. And that's just a game that if you needed your answer on Bryce Young, you've got to win that fucking game. Like, you have to win that game. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. You have to win that game. Number 16, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another one. If you're Todd Bowles, you have to win that game. Todd Bowles, I made an entire rant on your candy ass. I don't even know what to say, bro. Like, I've said it all at this point. What do you even do well at this point? Your defense now doesn't even stop the run. You don't get pressure. You don't sack the quarterback. You can't even get home on 1,000-year-old immobile Kirk Cousins with no arm. There's no Drake London. You still can't stop the fucking Falcons. They have two guys that they want to get the ball. Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, and you stop neither one. You're a defensive mastermind that people credited to beating Patrick Mahomes. One, maybe it had something to do with Tom Brady. Two, maybe Patrick Mahomes is just an ass. Maybe he just played like absolute butt cheek on that day. Because Todd Bowles is an absolute bum. When's the last time he had a good defense, man? When's the last damn time? This man's living off a legacy due to Tom Brady. The Bucs literally scored 30 points a game, at least 30 points in every single one of their playoff wins that season. And people give credit to the damn defense. Are you kidding me? You played old Drew Brees. That's why. Protect Baker, man. Protect Baker. I feel bad for Mike Evans, bro. I feel bad for Mike Evans. But now all the Bucs got to do is beat the Panthers. If you can't beat Bryce Young, Bulls, just start golfing, man. Like, really. Next, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Honestly, I don't think the Steelers are a very good football team, but they did impress me against the Dolphins. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Dolphins literally did not want to be there, at least offensively. And their offense just wore down the Dolphins' defense. And honestly, I kind of think that Aaron Rodgers is playing good. But man, their offense is so frustrating to watch from like a fun perspective. It's 2 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards. I have never seen a team throw the ball short more in my life. I have never seen a team go on 11-play, 50-yard drives quite like this year's Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, it is incredible. Now, I think Aaron Rodgers is playing pretty good. I love what I'm seeing from Kenny Gainwell. I really like Darnell Washington. I do think Jonnu needs to get the ball more. And DK has played well the last couple of games. Their defense, though, I do think is highly overrated. They looked good against Miami because Tua is just unplayable. And Miami in the cold is just like, I don't even know. But yeah, like this Steelers team is going to book themselves a spot to the playoffs and get demolished by the Bills. It's exactly what's going to happen. We all know that's what's going to happen. So I feel sorry for Steelers fans already. It's just what's going to happen. They're 9-8. They're going to get killed in the first round. Number 14, the Ravens, who I think are better than the Steelers. The Steelers beat them in the first game. We'll see them play in the last game. I think this Bengals game, it kind of shifted a little bit back to the Ravens, where I kind of feel like 24-0 against Joe Burrow, no matter how bad I felt like he played or how depressed he looked, that's still impressive. It's still impressive against the Bengals offense, even though they moved the ball. I think the Ravens do a very good job in the red zone defensively, and I do think they're running the ball decently, and I think if Lamar can look like he did in spots against the Bengals, we can go full steam ahead and we'll have a chance. I think the reason I have the Rams ahead of the Steelers is the Steelers probably have a higher floor, but the Ravens have more of a dark horse potential and an upside. The Steelers just to me have literally zero upside. Like, I cannot imagine the Steelers winning a playoff game. I think the Ravens have a chance, right? They have a potential. Their best is still untapped. But that being said, I think they're very overrated as favorites against the Patriots on Sunday night. Their O-line is not good. Their D-line is not good. They can't rush the quarterback. And they can't really protect Lamar either. And honestly, a lot of their roster is overrated. Mark Andrews, even Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman. These guys are not playing good football. Like, I don't know. So, Steelers and the Ravens, they're both not very good. I just choose the upside of the Ravens and Lamar a little bit more. At number 13, the Chargers. I will say this about the Chargers. I don't think they're much of a playoff threat because their offensive line is catastrophically awful. But they have beaten the Eagles and Chiefs back-to-back. You know, Chiefs, season on the line, last gasp, and they basically shut them out in the second half. And Justin Herbert has heroically played the last 2 weeks against Philly and the Chiefs. But Philly probably would beat them. Like, that game was fluky in my opinion, even as someone that bet on the Chargers. If the Eagles play them like 10 times, the Eagles probably win that game 7. Like, they decimated the offensive line of the Chargers. The Chargers got very fortunate due to Jalen Hurts shitting himself on national television. Like, so I'm not about to put the Chargers above the Eagles, but the Chargers, I love their mentality. I love their toughness. I really like their defense. I think they're strong in terms of their defensive scheme, their coverage, their pass defense. I think they're very smart is the word defensively. They have enough of a run game, and I do like their playmakers at receiver, but the O-line is so cripplingly bad. They remind me of the Texans last year in a lot of ways. Good defense. I think their defense a little worse than last year's Texans, but they do have more at quarterback. They do probably have more at receiver than last year's Texans, but the O-line is just like, it's just going to end their season. It's just, that's kind of the way they look to me. At number 12, the Eagles. Now, like I said, the Eagles lost to the Chargers, but that was all on Jalen Hurts playing one of the worst games I've ever seen from a quarterback. And number 2, I think if they play that game 10 times, they win 7. I've never seen a D-line whoop a team so badly that actually lost a game. Like, I don't know how they lost. But the Eagles did bounce back by absolutely ripping the Raiders apart, which is exactly what they should do with their level of talent against the worst team in the league. And Jalen Hurts bounced back. The Eagles still have some inspiring elements of their team that make you believe in them to win a playoff game or two, potentially. I don't know if I'm there because I'm not a Nick Sirianni guy. I don't believe in their schemes. I think they're too vanilla and predictable, and I think Jalen Hurts is super overrated. But I do think the O-line provides Hurts a lot of time, and they'll win that matchup more often than not. I do think Saquon is still capable of hitting a home run every once in a while. And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are a very good trio of receivers that can dominate a game. Defensively, they are a top 5 unit. And if they can be better against the run against these playoff teams, I think their pass coverage and their pass defense is sensational. So, plus they can play in the cold. Philly is a tough home field. I think there's elements of the Eagles that you do think can translate to the playoffs. They are a championship team, but I think they're just as likely to lose the first game because of lack of competence from their coaching and from their quarterback. So at number 12, the Eagles. At number 11, the Bears. The Bears, who beat the Eagles, are at number 11. I like how they played against the Browns. I thought that Caleb played a mature brand of football. He didn't put the ball in harm's way. I love their receiving core and their weapons. I think their run game is sensational. Ben Johnson is arguably the coach of the year. Their O-line is probably the element of the team that doesn't get discussed enough as the elite aspect of the team. Like, a lot of people are wondering, why are the Bears doing so well? I think the elite unit is the O-line, and it's not getting enough credit between Joe Thuney and Darnell Wright in particular. But Caleb's playing better and better, it feels like, even if he's not a guy that is like a carry the team guy. I think he's a decent, I don't know, I guess he's kind of a game manager. He's a lot like Jalen Hurts in a lot of ways. He has the physical traits to make a lot of plays, but he's kind of dumb and a little erratic as a passer. So I think Caleb is right there. And then defensively, I don't love their D-line. I don't love their run defense or their pass rush, but I do like Dennis Allen. I do like their linebackers when they're healthy. Tremaine Edmonds should be back soon. And I also feel like their secondary is very playmaker-oriented. They make a lot of plays, and they're aggressive, and they do get interceptions, and they do get turnovers. And I think Ben Johnson will be able to coach with anybody in the playoffs. So I think they're a threat to potentially win their division in a playoff game. I'm very excited for this game against the Packers. I think this is a very winnable game for them this week, and they could move up. Number 10 is Jacksonville, who feels like the AFC's version of the Bears, with the Coach of the Year candidate, the offensive mind turning around a suspect but talented quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams. Trevor Lawrence played his best game maybe as a pro against the Jets with 5 touchdowns, but I don't trust him. I think he's too erratic, a lot like Caleb. I think Trevor is maybe a better, more dangerous passer vertically, but a worse athlete. Jacksonville does have very good weapons. If they can find a way to unlock Brian Thomas, I think Brenton Strange, Jacoby Myers, and the rest of the group, Travis Etienne, they can make some plays. The O-line is okay. I think the D-line is pretty good. I think the defense, they do some really good things. I think their run defense is very strong. I think they have aspects you really like. I'm worried about Jacksonville in the cold. I'm worried about them going to New England or going to Denver or going maybe even Buffalo. We'll see, but going to a colder environment. Even I would be worried about playing Pittsburgh, or I'd be worrying about playing Baltimore. Like, I'm not convinced Jacksonville could beat any team in the playoffs, but I'm also not convinced that they would necessarily get destroyed by any team either. I am a little concerned about them being a warm weather team and not quite having the quarterback that I trust, and a defense that I think is like the Bears, where it's very big play oriented, negative play oriented, turnover oriented, but not necessarily good. So Jacksonville is playing well, though. They're seemingly gaining progress and winning games against teams they should beat, and that's pointing in the right direction. At number 9, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, I think, are officially dead in my mind as a team that can win the Super Bowl. They have lost 2 of their best players for the year, Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons, who's their best player. And I think now Christian Watson's beat up. I'm concerned they'll lose to Chicago. I think that will totally derail their chances to win the division. And I like Matt LaFleur. I like Halfley. I like these guys. I think Love has actually played very well. But we saw without Watson and Kraft, Love really struggled against a good defense in Denver. That was a game I thought they would win, and they kind of lost control once those injuries took form and shape. But the Packers have already been an erratic, inconsistent team. You lose players like Parsons who are fundamental to the way you want to play, and I think it's too late in the year for you to really figure that out and recalibrate without a player of that stature. The Packers are a good team, and I still think they'll be in the playoffs. But I think they're going to be a one and done at this point, especially if they're a road team where their defense has not performed the same way And I'm concerned their defense is not going to be very good without Micah Parsons because their corner position is very poor. And without that four-man pass rush, it really puts them in a bind for how they can play defensively. So at number 9, the Packers. At number 8, the Lions. The Lions might be the most inconsistent team in the league. They win one week, they lose the next. They win one week, they lose the next. They win one week, they lose the next. Now, a lot of that has to do with their level of competition. They've played one of the toughest schedules in the league, it feels like. But I do still feel that this team at their very best is a contender because they are mostly healthy. Like, I mean, they'll have their guys in the playoffs. I think Brian Branch might be officially gone, but I could be wrong. But their offense can score with anyone, and that gives me hope. There's an aspect of their team that gives me hope. I think they're also a very tough, mentally tough team. They're not going to back down towards anyone, and a lot of that stems from Dan Campbell. I do think they do miss the coordinators, and they do miss the creativity, and they do miss the level of scheming, especially on offense from Ben Johnson. But Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, I wish they had Sam Laporta, but this is a team that has a trio of playmakers that are as good, as effective, as explosive as any unit. Their O-line has played a lot better the last couple of weeks against a couple decent pass rushes in Dallas and the Rams, and they've been able to score with those two offenses. Defensively, they are not very good right now, but I think they're very matchup-oriented. They just need to find a way to be a little bit better in their secondary. I don't know what they have to do that, but maybe be a little bit less predictable could be a start. But the Lions feel like I would categorize them as a dark horse because I think a lot of people have kind of wrote them off. But now when you look at the struggles of teams, you look at the flaws of the NFC and flaws of certain teams, the Rams, they were up on the Rams by 2 scores at a point in that game, right? That's the number 1 team in the NFC, according to many. They can hang with these teams. They just got to get a couple stops and a little bit of fortune defensively. And offensively, they're right there. So at number 8, I still believe in the Lions a bit. At number 7, the Niners are very similar to the Lions. I think they have better coaching. And I actually think in a big game, I believe in their defense a little bit more. That's kind of strange, but I do. Even though the Lions have more talent, I feel like the Niners, they've shown more on defense in big games, especially at home, where they can put together a plan under Robert Saleh where they can be formidable. I also think they're getting healthier at the right time defensively. Fred Warner, if he can find his way back to the NFC Championship game if they make it that far, that could potentially push a team energy-wise to a Super Bowl run. But I do love this offense. I think Kyle is head and shoulders above every coach in the league right now. I think he is the coach of the year by a far margin. McCaffrey is unbelievable. Kittle is unbelievable. I think their pass protection has been very good this year. Their run blocking hasn't been great, but I think that if Purdy looks like the guy that he did against Tennessee, they have a playmaker at quarterback that can make 1 or 2 more plays than I think a lot of the other guys in the playoff field, coupled with the weapons he does have. Ricky Pearsall's got to be healthy. He's an important element of this offense when it's all shooting on all cylinders and really running the way they want to run. But if the Niners D-line can get a bit healthier and they can just find a way to slow down the run on early downs, I believe in this secondary to where they can get you in advantageous pass rush situations and get some stops. I think the Niners are a big dark horse for the playoffs because they have the coaching edge on almost every team, and it feels like they kind of know how to coach against every team, whether it be the Rams, Seattle, the Packers. We saw them against the Lions last year offensively. You go down the list of NFC teams, the Eagles, they dismantled, was it last year, 2 years ago? Last time they played them, but the Eagles, I guess that might be a matchup. We'll see, but that's a huge coaching edge. They have a talent disadvantage. So it's an interesting team, the 49ers, because everyone has written them off due to Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, but I kind of think they're better than people think. At number 6, the Houston Texans. The Texans, I think this is a little bit of a tier break. I almost feel like the 6 teams here, I could see in some way, shape, or form potentially winning the Super Bowl. although it might be a little bit of a stretch for these last 3, but I kind of feel like the Texans can win it because of their defense. I think in a year where there is not a great overall well-rounded juggernaut of a team, a unit that is this good, if they can get somewhat hot on offense where they're protecting Stroud and he's feeling himself and Nico's unstoppable and they're running the ball decently well and they're keeping you on your toes balance-wise on offense, then this defense could beat just about anybody. Now, one area to watch is their defensive tackle position. They're becoming razor thin at that spot with multiple season-ending injuries to pretty important underrated players. So watch out for that, but the Texans' defense is still a juggernaut. Their pass rush is great. Their run defense has been very formidable, and their secondary is phenomenal. But Stroud has looked great this last week, and then, I thought he played well against the Colts. He had moments against the Chiefs. He's playing well, better than last year, I would say, but he's not quite the rookie form. And the O-line is better, too. Who is this Jordan kid? I have no idea. But, yeah, the Texans are a team that I could see putting it together and going on a run. And because of their defense, I think they can play on the road. But I am worried about their O-line on the road as well. At number 5, Seattle. Seattle's number 5. I actually moved them down because of their performance against the Colts, where they let a grandpa hang around with them for 60 minutes. That's concerning. I think mostly I'm concerned about their offense, their pass protection, their lack of originality and creativity in their short passing game. I think that they lack on early downs offensively. They're very much play action oriented and JSN dependent, and I think that is not a way you can win the Super Bowl. That being said, they can win a playoff game or 2 due to their defense, and if Sam Darnold is feeling himself, he's one of those guys that can get hot and play really well. I think Seattle is just a little bit flawed offensively, but if they can get in a rhythm, they can move back up my list. I'm just concerned with what I've seen from the unit the last few weeks. But they have a big chance to prove themselves against the Rams. I think they actually will beat the Rams, but I don't know how much that will really change my opinion on this team. I just think that's a case of a divisional game that they'll get back in this spot. So at number 5, Seattle. At number 4, Denver. I've moved Denver above Seattle because of their win against the Packers. I thought they would lose to the Packers, and I'll admit that. Now, what I won't admit is that I'm not wrong about them losing Parsons and Christian Watson and how that changed the game. That did inherently change the game in all ways, shapes, and forms, but you still have to give the Broncos credit for taking it and snatching it while the opportunity was there, and that's what they've done all year. They have been able to win the games in the fourth quarter. Sean Payton and Vance Joseph have really done a great job, and they've been able to outcoach a number of teams in the second half. And I think their defense is very, very good. I don't think their defense is the Texans. Every big game they play, I feel like they do get taken advantage of in some areas. Specifically, I feel like their linebackers and middle of the field coverage against tight ends and running backs at times, and then I feel like they're a little over aggressive, but their pass rush, if they play at home in the playoffs, they got a chance because their crowd, their pass rush, the weather, mile high, the altitude, all that stuff does play a factor, especially in the cold where you're having to breathe. Bo Nix, though, is very up and down. He can be a baller. He's a little bit like Sam Darnold in some ways. Like, I feel like I've kind of undersold him in some ways. I've been a little too harsh on him, I will admit. He can make some really nice downfield throws, and he does have his spurts of really good play, but he's just very erratic. Like, there are certain times in games where he looks awful, like unplayable. And their run game, I can't seem to figure out. It feels like sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's terrible. And they just have these spurts of offensive football that they're just like not good at all. Like, they're bad. They're really bad. So I don't see them putting it together. And I think this is the problem with Denver for me for a Super Bowl team is I don't see them putting it together for 3 to 4 full games. But in a 1 or 2 game setting, I think they could probably beat anyone. It's just that I feel like through a course of 3 games against 3 legitimate opponents, I see them losing one of those games. And that's kind of, I think, my problem with Denver is I don't know what I'm going to get from them. At number 3, New England. Now, Denver has not played New England. They have not played Buffalo, who I'll also be talking about. And I think that's, they'll play Jacksonville this week, so they'll play one of the top seeds in the AFC. But Denver has largely played, the Packers where they got hurt in the NFC, and the Eagles, who I think are overrated, and the Cowboys, their defense, and the Chiefs, who are overrated all year. They haven't really played a legitimate top-tier AFC team. I guess you could say the Texans, but then CJ Stroud got hurt. So, a lot of their games just have asterisks, which is difficult for a fan. But for the Patriots, you could say the very same, where it's Patriots haven't played a lot of competition. And I think that's why they're kind of underrated, because I think unlike Denver, New England has beaten bad teams efficiently. They have hammered bad teams. They have effectively ramped up style points. And you look at Buffalo, who I think is the biggest threat and the favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. I picked them to go before the season to win the Super Bowl. And I probably still would have them going to the Super Bowl. But they beat them on the road in Buffalo. And then they had a lead against Buffalo, 21-0 and 24-7. And a lot of Bills fans are twisting that, and haters of the Patriots are twisting that into this team is a fraud. I actually think the exact opposite. I think the very fact that they were able to beat them once and then put them on the fucking ropes in the other game speaks to how good this team is, despite missing numerous top players. Their best linebacker, their best defensive player, Milton Williams, maybe their most important. I mean, him or Christian Gonzalez, right? And Milton Williams for the Bills game is the most important because of their run game, right? They didn't have the capacity to stop James Cook because they didn't have the personnel. Carlton Davis gets hurt, right? They don't have their left tackle, their 4th overall pick, Will Campbell. So the line of scrimmage against Buffalo, which is so important in that matchup, was not 100%. And yes, Buffalo had injuries, but I don't think they were as big as New England's. And you still look at New England and say, that's an environment they haven't really played in. That's a big game against a big tier opponent in the snow, bad weather. Drake May hasn't experienced it. They're in the lead. They're ahead. They're feeling themselves. They took their foot off the gas. Imagine if they would have been in that situation. Now they have that experience. So next time that happens, they might be that much better for it. So that's the scary part about the Patriots. I think they could be better for this loss in the long run. But you look at the New England Patriots and people are like, oh, they haven't played this team or they haven't played that team. Well, the best team they've played on their schedule, they nearly beat twice. And it's really hard to beat the best player in the NFL twice in one season. It's really hard to do that. And they've basically passed every test. And this is what I'll say about the Patriots. This game against the Ravens is, to me, a lot more important than last week. Because I think this week will tell you what type of team the Patriots are. Even with their injuries, there are no excuses. They should beat the Ravens. They are underdogs in Baltimore. But if they are as good as I think they are, if they are a legitimate AFC contender, they win this game. Because they bounce back from that loss. And Drake May bounces back from that loss. Now, if they are frauds, if they are not as good as we think, maybe you could throw out the excuse of no Milton Williams or whatever, Will Campbell for this game against the Ravens. But I even believe that as a Patriots fan, I will not look at the team the same way if they lose to the Ravens. Because I expected them to lose to the Bills. But the Ravens game is a game that they should win against a team that struggled up and down all year. And this is maybe the best and healthiest the Ravens have been in a long time. And this is a real test. It's prime time, Sunday Night Football, 2-time MVP, living for their playoff lives. Right? This is a big spot for the Patriots. And I think there's a chance here to show the world what they actually are, and that is in a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And that's why I still have them at number 3, going toe-to-toe with my top team in the AFC, which is the Bills. And for as many flaws as they do have, if I were to pick one team to come out of the AFC, I would pick the Buffalo Bills. I've said this, I even made, I was even in a Bleacher Report video where they asked me, who are you picking to win the AFC? And I said, it will be a team from the AFC East. And obviously, it's not the Jets or Dolphins. It's the Patriots or the Bills. And I made that video 3 weeks ago. And it's going to come down to, those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the conference. which team is healthier, which team do the elements impact more, which team can make the critical play at the critical time, and which team can get a call from a ref. I mean, first game it was New England got a couple calls. This game it was the Bills got a couple calls. And that's how close the NFL is sometimes. But Josh Allen stepped up, and he outplayed Drake May on the road. The O-line of the Bills played well. They dictated the line of scrimmage in the second half. James Cook had a great game. Their tight end stepped up. And they have experience. They have that X factor, that intangible that I don't think the rest of the playoff field in the AFC has. We don't know about the Texans, really. They've played in the playoffs the last 2 years. They've won one game each, but they haven't shown in a capacity to make plays in the clutch offensively. CJ Stroud in an AFC championship game. Denver, they lost against Buffalo last year in the wild card. They have no real playoff experience as a team. The Patriots are young. They have no real playoff experience as a team. The Steelers don't win playoff games. The Ravens, they don't win playoff games. The Bills are the team. Jacksonville, yeah, they don't win playoff games. So the Bills, head and shoulders, have the playoff advantage. And that's where you look at it and you say, it might be their year to make that run. They're still very flawed, though. I mean, the last 2 weeks, the first halves of both games, their defense looked incredibly bad. Like, so bad. So, yeah, like, they've got to be situationally better against the run. That's a big deal. I actually think their pass defense is good. Like, their pass defense, some metrics say it's good, some metrics say it's not good. Their pass defense, from my eyes, is actually good. I think it will be good enough to win a Super Bowl. Their run defense is the area they need to be better in, and their receivers. They need their receivers to make a couple plays down the stretch here. Just a couple, right? And that's why I have them at number 2, because they're the team I would pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. And in a one-game setting, you never know what Josh Allen can do. At number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are still the most overall competitive, complete team in the league. Their run game is awesome. Their pass game is awesome. Their quarterback is awesome. Their coach is awesome. I like Shula as a DC. Their pass rush is really good. Their run defense is really good. Their pass coverage is really bad. That's the one area of their team that I wish was better. But that's it, really. I mean, and their special teams is meh. Their special teams can be had, but that's something that's overlooked oftentimes. Like I've said weeks previous, the Rams kind of have to choke. They kind of have to cough it up. They kind of have to give you opportunity to lose. I kind of feel like if Stafford is a little off one day or the O-line allows too much pressure, it's going to have to take incredible efforts from some team's defensive line or some team's quarterback or some team's receiving core or an incredible coaching game plan. It's going to have to take some extremely special things to beat the Rams, because I do think the Rams are that team. Right now, that's number 1. They're just so explosive and efficient offensively. They can erase a lead, and their defense is good enough to where they make plays, they make stops. Their pass rush is good. They're well schemed. So they are the number 1 team. That being said, if they were to play a Super Bowl against Josh Allen, who knows what happens, right? Josh could take the game over, right? If they played a game against the Patriots and Drake May and Mike Vrabel, you never know. They might have enough coaching and enough quarterback to be able to make that game really interesting. In the playoffs, could the Eagles' talent take over a game against the Rams? Maybe. Could the Niners' coaching beat them in a one-game setting? Maybe. It's going to have to take something special, though, to beat the Rams. So at number 1, I have Los Angeles and not the Chargers. Thank you guys for watching. Gronk, spike the like button. Don't be a jabroni and subscribe. It's Mitch with the most real, truthful, and honest power rankings on the internet. Peace.